Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. There exists, within every home, every relationship, and every partnership, an invisible ledger, a silent record of duties performed, burdens carried, and sacrifices made. And yet, too often, this ledger is unbalanced, its weight pressing unfairly upon the shoulders of one, while the other moves forward unencumbered. This is not mere happenstance, nor is it fate. It is a condition of human design, a system built upon habits unexamined and roles unchallenged. But what if I told you that within your grasp lies the power to rewrite the rules? To reclaim your time, your energy, and your rightful share of the life you were destined to live? Rodsky has not come to merely point out the imbalance. No, she comes bearing a revolutionary framework, one that dares to shatter the old paradigms and erect in their place a new foundation of fairness, equity, and respect. She brings forth an idea so simple, yet so profoundly transformative, that once you grasp it, you will wonder how you ever lived without it. Consider for a moment the greatest truth of success, whether in business, in wealth, or in life itself. It is not achieved by chance. It is not given freely. It is designed, deliberately and with precision, by those who refuse to accept anything less than the life they envision. And so, too, must you approach the division of labor, the sharing of responsibilities, the creation of a life in which you are not merely surviving under the weight of obligation, but thriving in the fullness of your potential. The old way of thinking has told you that you must bear the burden alone, that fairness is an illusion, that exhaustion is inevitable. But the old way is a relic of a past that no longer serves you. The time has come to challenge, to change, and to claim your fair play. So I ask you now, do you dare to seize control of your life? Do you dare to dismantle the unseen forces that have dictated your time and your worth? Do you dare to stand and say, no more imbalance, no more sacrifice without recognition, no more dreams deferred? If so, then prepare yourself, for what you are about to hear is not just a book, but a battle cry, not just a system, but a revolution. It is time. Time to step forward. Time to reclaim your life. Time to demand and design your fair play. Fair play, a game-changing solution. Part 1. The problem. Why we're drowning. Chapter 1. The silent burden. The unseen chains of modern life. My friends, let me tell you a truth that has been hidden in plain sight. There is an invisible crisis gripping our world today. It does not announce itself with sirens or breaking news. It does not make headlines. And yet, it is present in every home, in every relationship, in every exhausted sigh at the end of the day. It is the crisis of the unequal division of labor. Look around and you will see it. The women who juggle work, childcare, meals, housework, and errands, while their partners remain blissfully unaware of the mental weight they carry. The men who assume that their role in the home begins and ends with the occasional chore, while the true burden of planning, anticipating, remembering, and managing falls squarely on the shoulders of their wives. And so, the cycle continues. One partner becomes the default manager of life itself, while the other simply assists when asked. One is drowning, while the other barely notices the flood. How do we get here? Why does this system persist? And more importantly, how do we break free? This book is not just an observation of the problem. It is a call to revolution. But before we can build a better way, we must first see the truth for what it is. Chapter 2. The mental load. The work no one sees, but everyone feels. Imagine, if you will, the weight of 1,000 tiny obligations pressing down upon you at every moment of the day. Not just the physical work, doing the laundry, cooking dinner, picking up the kids from school. No, this is something far more insidious. This is the thinking work, the invisible work. It is remembering to schedule the doctor's appointments before anyone gets sick. It is knowing exactly where the extra batteries are when the remote dies. It is being the one who notices when the milk is running low, the toilet paper is nearly out, the dog needs a vet checkup. This is what Rodsky calls the mental load, the constant, exhausting, unpaid labor of managing a household. And here is where the greatest injustice lies. This work is real. This work is essential. And yet, this work is not equally shared. Society has trained us, programmed us, to believe that it is a woman's duty to carry this burden, that her time is somehow less valuable, more available, more flexible, that she can handle it all. And so, women push themselves to the breaking point, while their partners say, "Why didn't you just ask for help?" Help, help. My friends, a leader does not help his company succeed. He takes responsibility for it. A soldier does not help his unit survive. He commits to the mission. So why, in the most important mission of all, the mission of building a fair and functional home, does one partner bear the weight while the other merely helps? It is time to expose this imbalance for what it is. And it is time to demand a new way. Chapter 3. The Time Value Fallacy. Why your time is not worth less. Let me tell you a secret that has been kept from you for far too long. Your time is worth just as much as anyone else's. Not a little less. Not slightly lower in priority. Not something to be sacrificed while others live freely. No, your time is equal. But my friends, here is the great deception. We have been led to believe that one person's time, usually the woman's, is infinitely flexible, stretchable, and available to be used by everyone else. The mother's time is expected to absorb every sick day, every unexpected errand, every school meeting. The wife's time is assumed to accommodate every forgotten birthday gift, every messy kitchen, every unmade plan. And here is where the inequality begins, not in the chores themselves, but in who owns the time to do them. The partner who has full control of their time, the one who can work late without worry, who can say, "I didn't realize we needed to do that," is free. The partner who constantly rearranges, anticipates, and adjusts, that partner is trapped. And I ask you, my friends, is this fair? No, it is not fair. And more importantly, it does not have to be this way. For the first step in reclaiming our power is recognizing this truth. Your time is not a resource for others to consume. Your time is yours. Chapter 4. The Lies We Tell Ourselves. Why We Accept Unfairness. Now, my friends, we come to the most dangerous enemy of all. Not society. Not tradition. Not even our partners. No, the most dangerous enemy is our own beliefs. For even as we recognize the injustice, even as we feel the exhaustion, even as we dream of a better way, we still make excuses. It's just easier if I do it myself. He won't do it right, so why bother? This is just the way it is. But I ask you, who benefits from these beliefs? Certainly not the one who is overworked. Certainly not the one who is exhausted. The only ones who benefit are those who remain unchecked, unburdened, and unaware. And so, I say this to you now as clearly as I can, it is time to stop making excuses. It is time to stop accepting an unfair system. It is time to demand a new way. And my friends, let me assure you, change is possible. For in the next part of this journey, we will not simply discuss the problem. We will solve it. We will break the cycle. We will balance the scales. We will reclaim our time, our power, our peace. The old way is ending. A revolution is beginning. And it starts with you. Are you ready? Part 2. The System That Changes Everything. Chapter 5. Rules of the Game. Why Structure Creates Freedom. Let us start with a truth that may shock you. Fairness does not happen by accident. You cannot wish it into existence. You cannot hope it will appear. You cannot wait for others to see the imbalance and fix it on their own. No, my friends, fairness must be built. Just as great leaders create systems to run nations, just as brilliant entrepreneurs establish principles to build empires, so too must we design a structure for our own lives. For what is life, if not the greatest enterprise of all? And so, the first lesson of fair play is this. You must set rules for your household, just as you would for any successful venture. Consider this. No company would succeed if only one person managed the schedules, the supplies, the budgets, the hiring, the operations, while everyone else simply helped out when asked. No sports team would win if one player had to coach, strategize, and execute every move, while others just waited to be told what to do. And yet, this is exactly how millions of homes operate. A team cannot function without rules. A family cannot function without structure. And so, Rodsky gives us the first commandment of fair play. Every task, every responsibility, every obligation must be assigned and owned. Not in vague, loose agreements. Not in "I'll do it if you remind me" nonsense. No, it must be clear, defined, and honored. And so, my friends, we begin to build the framework of a new and fair way to live. Chapter 6: Ownership, the secret to ending resentment forever. Now, I ask you, what is the single greatest cause of resentment in relationships?
It is not the tasks themselves.
It is not the hours spent cleaning, cooking, or running errands. No, resentment comes from imbalance. It is the feeling of carrying the full weight while another walks free. It is the anger of watching someone do the bare minimum while you drown in responsibility. And here, my friends, is where fair play delivers its most powerful solution. Every task must have an owner, not a helper, not an assistant, not someone who pitches in. An owner. To illustrate, let me ask you this. Would you ever hand a colleague half a project and say, "You figure out what needs to be done, and I'll jump in when you need me"? Would a business leader say to an employee, "Keep track of all the details, but don't expect me to remember what they are"? Absurd. Ridiculous. No enterprise would succeed under such a model. And yet, this is how households are run every single day. The mother remembers the birthdays, schedules the appointments, tracks the school forms, plans the meals, and then her partner helps by chopping a few vegetables or picking up a gift at the last minute. This is not true ownership. This is not fair. And so, my friends, the system of fair play demands this change. When a person takes on a task, they take on the full responsibility. From conception, noticing it needs to be done, to planning, figuring out how and when it will be done, to execution, getting it done, without reminders, without follow-up, without needing to be managed. The old way of helping is gone. The new way of owning has begun. And with it, resentment disappears, balance is restored, and true partnership begins. Chapter 7: The Card System, Turning Chaos into Control. But, my friends, you may ask, how do we put this into practice? How do we take a household drowning in imbalance and transform it into a finely tuned system? And here, Rodsky gives us a tool so simple, yet so powerful, that it changes everything: the Fair Play Card System. Picture this. Every household task, every responsibility, every chore, every errand is written on a card. Laundry, dishes, bills, doctor's appointments, kids' activities, meal planning, every single task that makes a home run. And now, my friends, instead of assuming, instead of waiting, instead of arguing, each task is assigned to a person who fully owns it. Not sometimes. Not if I remember. No, fully owned. Each partner takes their share of the cards, committing to their responsibilities just as they would in a job, a business, or a team. There is no more debate, no more last-minute juggling, no more invisible labor. The work is shared, the weight is lifted, and most importantly, freedom returns. Because when responsibilities are clearly divided, when the mental load is no longer unfairly distributed, time is reclaimed. And with time comes possibility. With time comes the ability to dream, to breathe, to live. This, my friends, is what fair play offers: the power to restore balance, the power to restore peace, the power to restore life itself. Chapter 8: Why Fairness is the Foundation of Love. And so, my friends, we reach the great revelation. This is not just about chores.
This is not just about balance.
This is not just about efficiency. This is about love. Because love is not simply a feeling. Love is action. Love is partnership. Love is showing up fully, not expecting another to carry the load alone. For what is a true partnership? It is two people walking side by side, equally invested, equally committed, equally responsible. And my friends, When fairness is restored, something extraordinary happens. Resentment fades. Passion reignites. Joy returns. A life of freedom, a life of balance, a life of true partnership. This is what fair play promises. And now, the choice is yours. Will you continue in the old way, drowning, exhausted, resigned? Or will you embrace a new way, where fairness is the foundation, where time is valued, where love is strengthened by true equality? The decision is yours. Part 3. The Revolution in Action. Chapter 9. The Shift from Struggle to Strength. Imagine, if you will, a household on the brink. A couple caught in the relentless grind. One partner, overwhelmed, exhausted, drowning in mental load. The other, unaware, disengaged, waiting to be asked. The cycle continues. The arguments over who does what. The bitterness of carrying more than one's fair share. The slow erosion of respect, joy, and intimacy. Does this sound familiar? My friends, this is not just one home. It is millions. But then, fair play enters. And the transformation begins. From exhaustion to balance. From resentment to partnership. From surviving to thriving. Here is where the system proves itself. Couples who once fought over responsibilities now share them with clarity and intention. Parents who once felt overwhelmed now have a structured, equitable way to divide the tasks of raising a family. Women who once sacrificed their own ambitions now reclaim their time, their space, and their dreams. And my friends, the most extraordinary thing happens. They fall in love again. Not just with each other, but with life itself. Because fairness does not just restore balance, it restores passion, energy, and freedom. And so, we see this great truth. A home built on fairness is a home built on power. Chapter 10. How Men Win in the Fair Play System. My friends, let us now address a great misconception. There are those who believe that fair play is a system for women alone. That it is a battle for control, a demand for men to do more, give more, sacrifice more. But let me tell you the truth. Fair play is not just a victory for women, it is a victory for men. For what kind of man thrives in a home where his partner is exhausted? What kind of man finds joy in a marriage filled with resentment? What kind of father wishes to be absent from his child's memories? No, my friends, men do not lose when the work is shared. They win. They win respect. They win partnership. They win deeper relationships with their children. They win more time, more intimacy, more happiness. And most importantly, they win freedom from outdated expectations. Because, let us be clear, the burden of financial provision alone is too heavy. The weight of traditional masculinity, where emotions are ignored, family moments are missed, and exhaustion is the norm. This is not a life of success. Men, too, deserve a balanced, joyful, fulfilling life. And that, my friends, is exactly what fair play delivers. Chapter 11. How Women Reclaim Their Power. Now, my friends, let us speak of power. Because, what is power if not the ability to shape one's own destiny? For too long, women have been told, you can have it all if you just work hard enough. Balance is possible if you just sacrifice more. You must be the caretaker, the organizer, the doer of all things because that is what good women do. And so, they carried it all. They sacrificed their sleep, their dreams, their health. They put themselves last, believing that selflessness was the price of love. But my friends, I tell you now, this is not balance. This is not love. This is not power. And this is where fair play changes the game. Because true power is not in doing everything. It is in knowing what is yours to own, and what must be shared. Power is choosing partnership over martyrdom. Power is demanding fairness, not just for yourself, but for future generations. Power is understanding that a truly equal home creates a truly unstoppable woman. And when women step into their power, the world itself is transformed. Chapter 12. The Greatest Reward, Time, Freedom, and a Life Well Lived. My friends, what is the most valuable resource in this world? Not money, not possessions, not status.
Time.
Time is the one thing we can never buy back. Time is the currency of our lives. And yet, how many spend it on endless to-do lists, invisible labor, and unpaid, unrecognized work? No more. For the greatest gift of fair play is the return of time.
Time to rest. Time to dream.
Time to build something greater than exhaustion. Because, my friends, here is the final truth. Fairness in the home is not just about tasks. It is about creating a life of joy, of ease, of possibility. A life where both partners thrive. A life where both partners rise. A life where both partners live, not just for duty, but for passion, for fulfillment, for love. And my friends, that is the ultimate reward. Part 4. The Movement That Changes Society. Chapter 13. The Ripple Effect. How Fairness at Home Changes the World. Picture this, a world where fairness begins at home. A world where children grow up witnessing true partnership. A world where daughters believe their time is just as valuable as their brothers. A world where sons grow into men who respect and share the labor of life. What happens in such a world? Women rise to their full potential, not weighed down by invisible burdens. Men experience freedom from outdated expectations and embrace deeper family connections. Children see a model of fairness and carry it into their own futures. And suddenly, entire industries shift. Workplaces adapt. Laws evolve. Companies create policies that honor both men and women as equal caretakers, leaders, and decision-makers. Do not mistake this as mere theory, my friends. It is happening. Countries with strong parental leave policies, where men and women share caregiving, experience higher happiness rates, stronger economies, and better relationships. Fairness is not just about feeling good. It is a strategy for a more successful, more productive, and more abundant world. Chapter 14. The Myth of Having It All, and the Truth of Choosing What Matters. For too long, we have been sold a lie. You can have it all, just work harder. But, my friends, that is not the path to success. Because no one can have it all if they are drowning in exhaustion. No one can have it all if they carry everything alone. The true secret to a fulfilling life is not doing more, it is choosing what matters most. Fair play teaches us to prioritize, to own what is ours, and to let go of what is not. And in doing so, we gain the greatest gift of all: peace, presence, purpose. For when life is balanced, when time is honored, when labor is shared, we are no longer slaves to the endless race. Instead, we become masters of our own destinies. Chapter 15. The Courage to Lead, Becoming a Champion of Change. Now, my friends, I ask you, will you be a leader in this revolution? Because change does not happen by waiting. It does not come from hope alone. It comes from action. If you want a fairer home, you must have the courage to demand it. If you want a better marriage, you must have the courage to build it. If you want a world where balance and equality exist, you must be willing to fight for it. This is not a passive movement. This is a call to arms. A call to speak up. A call to educate. A call to challenge outdated norms. A call to build a legacy that future generations will inherit. And my friends, let me tell you, leaders are not just those in high positions. A mother who teaches her son to respect labor is a leader. A father who models fairness is a leader. A partner who refuses to carry everything alone is a leader. You can be a leader. But will you answer the call? Chapter 16. The New Definition of Success, Living a Life of True Freedom. At last, my friends, we arrive at the ultimate prize. Not wealth, not possessions, not titles. True success is freedom. Freedom from exhaustion. Freedom from resentment. Freedom to live as your fullest, most powerful self. And fair play is not just a system that grants freedom. It is a system that demands it. Because fairness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Because balance is not a dream, it is a requirement. Because time is not infinite, and how you spend it determines the quality of your life. And so, I leave you with this. Imagine your future. A future where work is shared. A future where your time is honored. A future where you and your loved ones thrive, not just survive. This future is possible. It is within your grasp, but only if you choose it. And my friends, will you choose it? The revolution begins with you. Fair play is not just a book.
It is not just a concept.
It is a movement, a transformation, a new way of living. And those who embrace it will find themselves at the forefront of a world that is fairer, freer, and far more fulfilling than ever before. This is your moment. The time for change is now. The only question left is, will you take the first step? The revolution starts with you. The stirring conclusion, the power of choice and the legacy of fair play. My friends, we stand at the edge of transformation. Before us lies a choice, one that will define our lives, our families, and the generations to come. For too long, we have accepted an invisible burden, carrying the weight of unspoken expectations, outdated roles, and silent sacrifices. For too long, we have watched the unequal division of labor crush the dreams, the time, and the energy of those who deserve more. But no more. Today, we take a stand. Today, we reclaim our time, our dignity, and our future. The final question, will you embrace the change? We have learned that success is not measured by how much we do, but by how wisely we choose. We have seen that equality in the home is not just an issue of fairness, but of freedom. And we have realized that the power to change is in our hands. Yes, ours. Not in the hands of governments alone. Not in the hands of corporations alone. Not in the hands of some future generation, but in our hands right here, right now. Every decision we make, every conversation we have, every boundary we set, every expectation we redefine, ripples out into the world. With each step toward fairness, we create a new reality. With each demand for balance, we shape a new standard. With each moment we honor our own worth, we lay the foundation for a legacy of true partnership. The call to action, becoming a champion of fairness. But, my friends, knowledge alone is not enough. It is action that changes history. If you have a partner, start the conversation. If you are raising children, teach them fairness. If you are leading a workplace, advocate for balance. If you are standing in the shadows, waiting for permission to demand more, step into the light and claim what is yours.
This is your time.
This is your revolution. The final words, your legacy, starts today. Imagine a future where you no longer carry it all alone. Imagine a world where fairness is not a fight, but a fact. Imagine a life where your time is valued, your contributions are seen, and your voice is heard. This future is within your reach. It is waiting for you to claim it. So I ask you, with all the urgency of history calling out to us, will you take the first step? Will you become a leader in this movement? Will you challenge the status quo? Will you dare to demand a life where fairness is not negotiable but non-negotiable? The choice is yours. But remember this, the future belongs to those who refuse to settle. The future belongs to those who demand better. The future belongs to you. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.